Today is Wednesday, December 14th, 2011, and Joe Turner and myself, Judy Meyer, are talking to Andy and Marian Barth, and we are at Joe and Jenny's home on the Banker Hill. And Andy and Marian, I never really met you before, but I know that right now you're living out of state, is that correct?
Yes. Correct.
And that you used to live here in Bridgeton, is that right?
Right.
Where did you live when you were in Bridgeton?
On Elsinore Avenue.
On Elsinore Drive.
Was Elsinore in the Carrollton subdivision?
Carrollton
Yeah.
subdivision.
And why don't you live in Bridgeton anymore?
The airport moved us out.
What year was that? Do you remember?
And I forget.
That's all right, you can.
Right
Well-
through the midst of everything. You know, everybody was moving. If you had, most people didn't want to move.
You're right.
And so we all dragged our feet about finding a house.
Where did you move from there then?
We moved to O'Fallon. It was 10 years ago.
Well, how far was O'Fallon then from here in Bridgeton?
O'Fallon was there,
Yeah, how far was that?
About 10 miles.
Really?
15 miles.
Yeah.
Well, let me backtrack a little
So
bit.
never really.
And if you don't mind, let me ask you, Andy, when were you born?
March 24th, 1922.
And Marian, would you
I
mind?
was born in 1919, July the 30th, 1919.
July 30th.
July 30th.
And were you both born here in St. Louis?
St. Louis.
Yeah.
And Andy, where did you grow up? What part of town?
Well, I grew up kind of all over town.
Why is that?
My dad was a baker,
Yes?
and
He owned different baker shops and
we were in North St. Louis, South St. Louis, just more or less all over. Wherever he opened a shop, we'd go. That's where we'd go.
I see. Where did you go to school while you were growing up?
Several of them.
Were they mostly in the city of St.
In the
Louis?
city of St. Louis, yeah.
What about high school?
I went to Hadley Vocational.
Oh, really? What did you study there? Or what was the focus, I should say?
Well, started out aeromechanics. And didn't quite finish. Went
you went
with
service.
Uncle.
You what?
I went with Uncle.
Oh, you mean like the military?
Military.
Yes. And what was going on at that point?
Well, it was I had joined the National Guard,
Uh-huh.
and we had gone to Camp Robinson for 1 year of federal service,
Where is Camp Robinson?
Arkansas,
Oh,
on December the 23rd, 1940, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll never forget the day. And we were to be out for 1 year.
you would be out. What do you mean be out?
We'd be in service for 1 year. We'd be out of service in a year's time.
Okay.
And then December 7th came.
Right. And that
So-
ended that plan, huh?
It didn't end until 45.
Oh. What, Brand, you said you went in National Guard. Then,
The Army in it.
oh, okay. Okay. Where did you serve? Were you overseas then?
No, I was with the old 138th Infantry. And like I say, we went down to Camp Robinson, and after war was declared, we went to Fort Ord, California. And from Fort Ord, we went to Fort Lewis. And the rest of the unit went to the Aleutians. And I kind of, as a kid playing sandlot football, kind of banged up a knee. And they said, the cold weather and your knee aren't going to go together, so we'll put you in an outfit that don't walk.
Oh, and so what was that then?
Military police.
Oh, so they thought you shouldn't be overseas, but yet you were going to be an MP.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
But it was interesting.
And that was Fort Lewis in Washington,
Yeah, Fort Lewis, Washington,
So did you stay in the military till the war was over?
yeah.
And
Yes,
then,
we did. Our first job was interning the Japanese on the West Coast,
and these were civilian Japanese?
civilian jobs, yeah.
It's kind of a sad thing, wasn't it?
In a way, yes, and in a way, no, because they found on a florist, a Japanese florist property, a farm, they found all kind of weapons.
Oh,
So, like I say, it was sad in one way, but it wasn't in another. And most of the time I spent in the States, and we went over to North Africa for about 6 months. We were supposed to bring POWs back, and we got over to North Africa, to Oran, North Africa, and Italy surrendered. We loaded one load of German POWs on a boat, sent them home, and after about 6 months they said, go home. So we went back, and we did town patrol in Oakland and San Francisco, Sacramento, several different cities. And the last thing we had, our unit, the 749th MPs, was the security on the United Nations Conference.
oh,
And that's where I got to meet Harry
Harry, as
Truman.
in, right.
And this is the hand that shook the hand of Anthony Eden. And got scared by Molotov and his crew,
Molotov?
the Russian ambassador.
Oh,
We were walking down the corridor in the Opera House in San Francisco, and his group was in front of us. And my buddy didn't have his nightstick secured on his belt, and it fell on the marble floor and
made quite a clatter.
made a clatter. And when I looked up, several of the Russians had turned around, and they had something in their hand that had a barrel about that big.
Oh my gosh.
But
So did everybody put their hands up and go, it's okay, it's okay?
that's it. But that's it.
Wow, well, that's wild. Did you stay with the military after that as National Guard for a while?
No, I got out and I went to work
In 45?
in
I
45.
see. You came back to
and
St.
met
Louis?
this young lady.
How old were you, do you think, when the war was over and you met this young lady? Do you remember how old you were? Were you in your early 20s?
664 from 89.
Probably your early,
25.
I'm thinking early
25,
20s.
24, 25.
Well, let's go to Marian then. Marian, where were you born? Was it here in St. Louis?
South St. Louis.
South St. Louis girl.
In fact, the house is still standing there.
What street was it?
Wyoming.
Oh, yes,
And the funny
sure.
part of it is, Andy has a brother and sister-in-law, and they bought a house down in South St. Louis. And guess whose house it was?
I don't know.
It was the house I was born in.
Oh, my
You
God.
talk about a small world.
Yes, sure was. So, did you live the whole time on Wyoming while you were growing up?
No, we moved to Clayton. And we
Oh,
lived in Clayton.
uh-huh.
And I went to Ursuline Academy.
Oh, you did?
You know, and then I went to college for 2 years, and then
Where'd you go to college?
just here in St. Louis at St. Louis U.
Oh,
So,
what did you study there?
well, I was going to be a nurse, or tried taking a lot of chemistry classes,
Uh-huh.
and well, I just kind of gave up, and my mom got sick, and well, anyhow, so I just quit and got a job.
So you kind of ended up nursing her.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So you got a job doing what?
Well, I was secretary.
Okay.
I worked for B.F. Goodrich.
Oh, really?
And I worked for them for, well, that's where I met him.
Well, okay. Wait a minute. Where was the B.F. Goodrich?
Down on
15th and Washington.
yeah,
Downtown?
downtown, 15th, yeah.
So it wasn't real far for you to go. Did you take the bus or?
Yeah, we didn't drive. I drove, but I didn't have a car. And the bus was right in the corner, so I just hop on the bus in the morning, you know. It worked out fine. And then,
And you met Andy while you were working for B.F. Goodrich.
Yeah, right.
How did you meet?
well, we worked together, and he'd bring his paperwork to me, and, you know, and we started dating, and everybody said, you can't date if you work for the same company or in the same office and what have you. So anyhow, the heck with it. So nobody really, well, you wouldn't even tell because we acted pretty sensibly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So every once in a while, the boys downstairs would kid us or something, you know. I know you're going with him or something like that. And I didn't deny it, so I thought, well, but we didn't get in trouble because our boss was an old stinker, and for things like this, he was a good boss, but he had some funny ideas. But I liked him. Anyway,
How long did you date before you decided to get married?
about 2.5 years.
Okay. Where were you married?
Christ the King Church, University City.
University City.
Oh.
In the meantime, we moved from South St. Louis, and my folks sold the big house and everything, and we got an apartment, and with my mother's health so bad and everything. So anyhow, and that was in Christ the King Parish. In fact, that's where we got married. It was in Christ the King Parish.
So you lived in University City after you were married?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we had an apartment, and I didn't want to leave my mom alone, and we were going to buy a house. He found a real nice little house, but we couldn't move my mom, and so she stayed when she passed away.
I see.
And I was so happy that you know, and she wanted me to get married. She kept saying, I can't die in peace unless you're married, Jim.
Right.
So,
How old were you when you got married?
well, okay, I was 28.
28.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
27, or just over 27.
Was
yeah.
that considered kind of old to be getting married when
Yeah.
you were
And
28?
yeah, yeah.
I think so.
But with the war, there were a lot of people that waited to get married. You know, later on, quite a few of our friends, and so, well, anyhow.
Did you get another job after you got married? And apparently you had to leave then the B.F. Goodrich because by then you were, you know, serious and getting married. So
Yeah.
did you work somewhere else then?
Well, then I just stayed there until we decided to move to Youngstown, Ohio.
Oh my goodness.
And,
Youngstown, Ohio.
Uh-huh.
Why did you go to Ohio?
Well, I had a cousin that opened a business there, and he wanted us to come and work for him. And we thought, heck, well, in the meantime, my mother died.
I see.
And but she was there for our wedding, and it was just, about 6 months later when she died.
I see.
And so, and John kept wanting us to come up there. So we did.
And how long did you live there?
10 years. 1950 to 1960.
1960.
And from there, did you move back
And we
here to
came
St.
back here to
Louis?
St. Louis.
Did you
My
move?
whole family was here, his family, and we're up there by ourselves again, you know.
That's
So,
when Dad died.
and then his dad.
I see.
We came back when his dad died, so we thought we might as well just stay. So we sold our house, just like that.
And when you came back, did you move into Carrollton at that time?
Mm-hmm.
To the house on Elsinore that you told me about earlier?
Yeah, that's where we moved.
Well, we were in we rented a place
Well, we rented a place, so,
till we decided where we wanted to live.
well, yeah.
Well, we moved down in Crestwood.
Yeah, when we first came back, we moved.
were in Crestwood.
Crestwood.
And when I went to work for Mac,
Aha!
and he went to work for Mac.
I got into an accident.
Oh, no. Going to work?
On
Coming
Lambert.
Yeah.
On,
Going
Lambert
home from work?
Before 270 was open.
Yeah, I heard Lambert was Dead Man's Curve and everything.
And all our friends lived south.
There was 5 cars. I was the 3rd car in a 5-car pilot.
Oh my gosh.
So I decided that if I'm going to work at Mac, we're moving north.
So how did you find the Carrollton subdivision? Was it through people at work that told you about it?
It was fine.
We
rode around. I had heard something about it, and
well, my sister and brother-in-law lived not far from us.
In Carrollton, you mean?
No, in South St. Louis.
Oh, but
Or Crestwood, rather.
yeah.
They live right outside of Crestwood.
Well,
And so we liked it there at Crestwood.
it was still nice, sure. It's a nice place even now. But you came to Carrollton because that would bring you a lot closer to your work, McDonnell Douglas.
Yeah.
We have talked to many people, haven't we, Joe? We have interviewed many that have worked at McDonnell Douglas. So it sounds like...
well, if you lived in Carrollton,
chances are you
you're
did.
Mac.
Chances are you did, huh?
Yeah. That's what we're going to tonight, is a Mac party.
Oh, really? So what division of McDonnell Douglas did you work in?
I was in inspection. Magnetic particle and fluorescent penetrant inspection.
Oh, that sounds pretty technical.
It's part of non-destructive testing.
And did you work then, Marian?
Oh, yeah. When we moved out here for 2 years, or well, a year and a half, I had nothing to do. The kids were in school.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's backtrack. Let's talk about children. When did you have children?
Okay, we adopted 2 little children when we lived in Youngstown.
Oh,
And we adopted a little boy, and then we got a little girl. And today
how old are they?
right now they're 60.
Dan is 59. He's going on 60.
And
He's 30 years younger than I am.
and then Peg's a year younger than Dan.
Wow.
Okay, so then we thought, well, this is great, and we had great time with our kids, and then first thing you know, we had one of our own.
Oh, really?
And the doctor called him a miracle baby. He just didn't he, Andy? To ask Andy about that.
Uh-huh.
And because when he was born, he kept the doctor kept going around. Here's a miracle baby. Here's a miracle baby.
Now, when the baby was born, was it when you lived here in St. Louis?
No, in Youngstown.
Oh, you're
Youngstown.
still in, okay.
Yeah.
When you moved back here, were the first 2 out of school, or were they still school age?
They were out of school. None of them were in school yet. Oh yeah, Danny was.
Dan was.
Dan was in, and Peg was.
Yeah.
Well, she was more in kindergarten.
Yeah, Dan.
And Dan was, because he made his first Holy Communion in Youngstown.
Youngstown.
Yeah, and so
St. Charles
he was
Borromeo.
in second grade. Yeah, St. Charles Borromeo up there.
Where did they continue to go to school when you lived here? Let's put it that
We
way.
put St. Lawrence,
Okay.
and in fact, the school was so crowded at that time, it was iffy if they could take our 2 kids.
Wow.
And but we managed, and so anyhow, so then I became very active
In what?
In school then.
In St. Lawrence, you mean?
In St. Lawrence.
What did you do?
Well, I was with the ladies' club. We did all that work for Christmas parties and oh, another thing, when we had the fall festivals.
Tell us about Fall Festival. Tell us about the St. Lawrence Fall Festival. We really haven't heard anything about it in all the interviews we've had. No one has really mentioned it.
Oh,
So what were they? Or what was the purpose of having a fall festival?
Oh, the church needed money and the school needed money, and a bunch of we women in the club decided, we have to make some money. So we talked the men into it. And first thing you know, they latched on, but good, which was a great big help. So then they took over. And I wish I should write this down, because I forget some of the men's names that took over, and we were a wonderful group. And I worked at Mark Twain State Bank.
Where was that located?
On St. Charles Rock Road.
Well, could you narrow that down?
Across the street from the hospital.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was just a lot then. And that was where the dentist lived.
Dennis, what was his name?
Vandover.
Andover.
Vandover with the V.
Vandover. Yeah, Dr. Vandover.
So you were working full-time then?
No, part-time.
Oh, good.
Oh, I had a great job.
Oh.
And I could work in the winter, and then if the kids had a holiday, I could get off.
That's nice.
It was, nobody ever had a job like that, I don't think.
That's very, very
And
nice.
I got all my raises, like everybody else, you know.
Were you a bank teller?
I never was, but they broke me in. I was going to work in the, you know, out in front, and just doing book work and what have you. So this one gentleman said, you know, we needed, oh, this is when I interviewed. He asked me if I had ever worked at the bank. I said, no, but I had worked in offices. And
right.
He said, well, we need a bank teller. Oh, that'll be fun.
That's what you said?
Yes, what I said so. So he says, okay, let's give it a whirl.
Right.
So, yeah, so I worked there for how many years?
18 years.
18 years.
I'd like to see that kind of interview these days.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Was
And-
Elvira over there when you worked?
Oh, and then Elvira Biedenstein. Do you
We
know?
haven't talked to her. Well, Joe talked to her, but I haven't.
Yeah, well, she and I were the first two employees they had.
Really?
Well, you took the first dollar in.
And I took the first dollar of that.
Wow. So you did work as a teller for a while.
You taught, well, they just stood me there, and you put this ticket in for that, this ticket for that. Well, I thought, okay, maybe it'll bounce, maybe it won't. but it did.
Yay.
It did pretty good.
Did you do your own banking there?
At first, I didn't. I did not want to do it. But then my big boss said, Marian, that's ridiculous. If we employed you, you know, we know you're not going to steal from us. That's for goodness, you know. And so why don't you get your... But, you know, I always felt funny because if I go to cash a check, you know, I'd have somebody sign the back.
Right.
You know, that was the only part I ever... But, so, you can't go for a month and not get a check cashed.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, I guess or he'd go in and get it. You know, they knew him just as much as they knew me.
So Andy worked at McDowell Douglas, and you worked at the Mark Twain Bank on St. Charles Rock Road, and your children went to St. Lawrence the Martyr for school. Where did they go to high school then?
Kevin went to DeSmet, and the other two went to...
Well, Dan started out at the
seminary.
seminary,
North Prep.
North Prep, and then went to Aquinas, and Peg went to Aquinas.
And Peg went to Aquinas.
I see.
And then Peg went to St. Joe's for academy for a year, over a year.
Well, you were starting to talk about the St. Lawrence Fall Festivals. What went on? Were there rides? I've never been to a St. Lawrence Fall Festival.
Oh.
So what would it be like?
We had rides, we had cakewalks. It turned out to be a big thing, really.
Dinner.
And a dinner.
What kind of dinner?
They had chicken, they had fried chicken and roast beef.
Wow.
And I forget the man's name. His wife used to do the roast beefs for us. Throw. Nancy and Joe Throw. Did you know them?
No, I really don't.
They were from St. Charles, weren't they?
Throw.
Didn't they have
Oh,
business in St. Charles?
They're over in
No, they're out in Creve Coeur.
Okay.
No.
Or someone else.
Chesterfield.
Yeah, Chesterfield.
They're out in Chesterfield. They
So
moved.
how did you raise the money? Where did the money,
Oh,
come from that you raised? Was it from,
we raffled.
okay.
We had raffles. We had rides,
Mm-hmm.
and
beer wagon.
and yeah, all kind of things like that, and raffle this, that, and the other thing, you know, just like a big carnival.
And
They had the rides.
people driving by 270 could see the rides when they were going up and down. So
Mhm.
they got people in off the highway.
Yes, we did. That's what.
So it was a yearly thing.
Then after that, it was the yearly thing
Did
because
it?
we made so much money.
Well, that's great. And then they kept doing it year after year?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think when St. Lawrence closed down because of the airport buyout, then they joined with the Maryland Heights Church and Farmed Holy Spirit.
Spirit, yeah.
And I think then they started the fall festival also.
Yeah, it was our people that started that really over there.
I see.
Because they suggested it.
Same place is
A same
one
place,
they
yeah.
combined with,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
Uh-huh. And were you involved, were your children involved in sports or scouts?
oh yeah, scout, sport, you name it. and why I like my job so if one of them got sick, I could go home.
That's nice.
Just when I took that job. Now here's the good part. I only worked in the winter, and if they had a free day, I had a free day. And then in the summer, Andy was with them, so I would work just part of the summer then, you know, because he works second shift.
Oh, I see.
See, and then I'd hurry home and get there before he ever left.
I see.
So that cut my hours down, which I didn't care. This was perfect for me, you know. And they didn't cut my salary. They
Sounds great.
yeah.
Sounds
I was
great.
there for what, 18 years.
That's really nice.
Yeah, and I still to this day can walk down the street here and meet people that I've known from the bank. Or they'll say, oh, I know who you are. You worked at the bank. And I go, yeah.
That's nice.
So,
Andy,
Well,
did you
I
do
think
that when you
I-
were at McDonald's? Did you, afterwards, when you were in the community, did you see a lot of people you worked with from McDonald's?
No, most of the people that I worked with, they were from Troy.
Oh, really?
There's only one or two that were around the area that I worked with. I knew some of the other people that worked there at Mac, but they weren't in the same department.
When did you retire from there?
1984.
1984.
we both retired in 84.
Oh, really? And by that time your children were grown and
Oh, grown, yeah. And college, our daughter went in the Air Force.
wow.
And Danny went to Spring Hill College in Mobile, Alabama. And Kevin went to
Well, he went to Lou Tech for 2 years,
2 years.
and then he went from there to
University of
the
Montana.
University
Wow.
of Montana.
He's a wildlife biologist.
Oh, how interesting.
Well, he was about
Well, he is. That's his degree.
He's
and he's all science.
botany and
Plants,
Anyhow, he's
plants and animals.
yeah, and anyhow, then he got married and left home. You know.
botany and wildlife
And-
biology. But the two,
Uh,
he has a double degree, wildlife biology and botany.
Wow. The great outdoors.
yeah, the great outdoors, and to this day he likes the outdoors.
Is this your oldest son?
No, it's our oldest son. He's the one that's adopted,
Uh-huh.
and he's just a doll. He is so good to us. You wouldn't believe. Well, and he wanted to go away to college, which we said would be fine. So he wanted to go to Spring Hill College in Mobile, Alabama, and it's a Jesuit school.
Oh.
And so we go down there for Parents Weekend, and we knew some of the people from here that their kids went down there.
Wow.
And so that 4 years was really a lot of fun, you know. And then Kevin, we'd go out there for even out there for Parents Weekend. We'd go out and that's a 3-day drive. Yeah, but each time we take a different route.
You make a trip out of it.
Oh yeah, we did. You might
Well, tell us about living here when your children were younger, about what it was like to raise a family in Carrollton in the Bridgeton area. What was it like, do you recall, when you just kind of think about it?
It was great.
In what way?
The children had lots of friends. I never knew how many kids I was going to have for dinner. You know, our backyard was the basketball field, the football field, and we didn't have much grass in the back, but we didn't care, you know. And then Andy finally put up a hook for basketball in front, but that's all right. They didn't. It was on the garage door, you know.
Uh-huh.
Over the garage.
Oh yeah, and so we had a lot of basketball, and then like Wally Owen, a good friend of his, went in the Navy. So when he went in the Navy, the boys decided we should have a party at our house. So anyhow, that was the beginning of parties. And so whenever Wally came home, we always had to have a big party.
Well, the 4th of July, Kevin
Yeah.
threw his 4th of July party.
Oh, that was another thing. Our neighbor next door,
What was your neighbor's name, you remember?
Marvitz, Al and Tama Marvitz. And everybody knows them up at City Hall because she worked up there.
Okay.
And he worked for Chrysler. He could drive all the way out. They were lovely. And we loved our neighbors, you know, and some of them moved. We would have stayed there forever. In fact, I told Andy when we moved in this house, which was that one, I'm gonna die from here. I'm not moving again. The kids like it. They got along great. We knew everybody. I worked at the bank, and you know, and I belonged to the Mothers Club, and belonged to 5 bridge clubs. So
what was it like when you knew you had to leave? How did you feel when you knew that you really just couldn't stay there anymore?
I was pretty upset.
I guess
mean, it
so.
just, I know one of the girls to this day is still upset. I mean, and they live in a lovely home and everything, but she, it was just, she said it was just like somebody hit her in the head.
Where did you move to, did you say?
We moved to O'Fallon.
And when you moved to O'Fallon, did you continue to come back to Bridgeton for any reason?
Oh yeah, I kept my job here. See, I went to work for the city of Bridgeton.
You went to work for City of Bridgeton after you retired from the bank?
Yeah.
And what did you do for City of Bridgeton?
Well, first, before I even retired, I was driving the senior van because he only worked part-time.
Oh, that's right. Yes, of course.
So I worked in the office, and you know, when y'all come in with your taxes, your receipts for your gas, electric, water, utilities, well, I do that. I still do that. I still come in and do that. And,
No, you don't do it now.
well, I was there last year.
Yeah, well, that was
But now we live in not Arkansas,
Georgia, did you
Georgia.
say?
We live in Georgia
You
now.
live south.
South. Well, and how we got there, our oldest boy thought we should be closer to them. That's
Yeah,
where
that
it
makes
is,
sense.
You know,
Sure.
and to this day, I think I did right.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good. You feel
Like
like you
last
made the right
night.
move.
My Bunko Club met, and this is the first time I've been back to it.
Oh, I see. The Bunko Club that you used to belong to here.
Yeah, here.
I see.
And that was last night.
And where did you meet then?
We met in our homes. There were 12 of us.
Oh, that
And we
sounds like
just went
fun.
around. Yeah. And then you serve, you know, you roll the little dice and eat all night. You know?
Were they mostly people from Bridgeton? Did it start out that way?
Yeah, we started out, well, Marilyn Tabaka and a couple other girls and myself, I guess, were the ones that started it. And so we have 12 girls.
We talked, in fact, we interviewed the lady that started the beauty shop in the Carrollton Center. The Coiffure Creations. Did you ever go down there to have your hair done?
No, I usually just do my own hair. I wash it and that's it.
I see. I see. I was just
Every once in a
wondering.
while. No, I have somebody cut it. I used to cut my hair myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And just when the kids were little, and you know, I thought, why spend time away from them in the beauty parlor when I can cut it right here in the sink, you know? So.
Did you do your grocery shopping down there in the Carrollton Shopping Center?
Oh yeah.
Was it what was the grocery store then?
JB
Yeah.
was one,
Uh-huh.
and then who was the other one?
I think they had a Del Monte, didn't they?
Yeah, that was Joe or John. What was his last name?
Before JB.
Before JB.
I don't know.
Lickenhouse.
I don't know that. That's a Jenny question. Yeah.
Lickenhouse. They're actually from St. Charles. That's a big name out in St. Charles. Lichtenhouse. And
Well-
Joe and Jim were the boys that started the store down here.
We were told by the lady, Jada, what was her name? That her husband was the one that organized the first fireworks to be held on the property down there at the Carrollton Shopping Center. Do you remember that?
No, but I remember, I don't know who the man was. Who did you say it was?
It was the lady, I'm sorry that I can't quite remember because she was married twice. Her first husband died, and he was the one that organized Kramer. Yeah, I think that was his last name,
Oh.
Kramer. He organized having fireworks down there for 4th of July on the Carrollton Shopping Center lot. And now it has been down at the Bridgeton Municipal Athletic Fields for quite a while.
Why did
Yeah.
In fact, when my children were little, we'd always go down to see the fireworks down there. But I was wondering if you remember fireworks being down at the Carrollton Shopping Center.
Oh, yeah. Oh, heavens, yeah.
Well, what other businesses were in Carrollton Shopping Center at that time?
2 grocery stores.
No, two?
At the
Yeah.
same time?
One on,
No, there's one. There was.
we had 2 grocery stores to go to. Joe, Lichtenhouse, or what first name was, and then a big store came in. On
Bettendorf.
Bettendorf.
Joe Bettendorf.
We had Joe, yeah, we had Joe Bettendorf
Mhm.
here, and then on this side, on the corner there, was Lichtenhouse.
Was there a
and that-
bowling alley then?
And there was a bowling alley, yeah, on that corner.
And what about Telsher Hardware?
Culture.
Telsher was there forever, yeah. She was there when we moved out here.
Mm-hmm. She said, Mrs. Telsher said that, or actually it was Mrs. Kramer, the one that had the beauty shop, said there was a toy store also in that area.
When-
And I think an ice cream, where's an ice cream and a barber shop?
Yeah,
The barber shop. was
barber
there.
shop.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese.
And there was a Chinese restaurant there. And then Telsher had a big fire.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And of course they rebuilt that, you know. Oh, that was horrible. Funny part of it was we were coming, Kevin went to DeSmet, and we were out at DeSmet coming in over the highway, and we saw this
Really?
big blaze.
Wow.
And I said, Danny, oh my God, there goes our house.
Oh.
It's right where our house is. So that's where the big fire was.
Good afternoon.
Oh, Joe, little Jen's out there.
Yes. Oh,
So
here.
anyhow, we got there, here our store, and there was a restaurant. What was that restaurant was down
There
there?
was the boat.
Oh, the boat.
What
There-
about?
Bayou Bell.
The Alton Bell.
No, not the Alton Bell.
The Bayou Bell.
Bayou
Oh,
Bell.
Bayou Bell.
Alton Bell.
Thank you, Joe. Bayou Bell was there, yeah.
And
In
that
Burt.
was,
That was on the Rock Road.
Yeah, that was on Rock Road, and that was the restaurant up there.
Oh, this is terrible.
That's okay, it's not a
That's
quiz.
all right. We're not here to test you, really, we're not.
Peg worked up there.
Wish I could think of, what I should have done was written this down.
That's all right. It's
Yeah,
perfectly
it would have gone
okay.
more progressively.
That's quite okay. We just want you to tell us, actually, you know, as I said before, what life was like for you in Carrollton, and you said that you really liked it. You were happy there.
Oh,
You
yeah.
were happy to raise your children there. Did they have the Bridgeton Community Center
Yeah. that was
available too?
Yeah, no, it was on the other side of the street. It was in
Right.
a school.
Yes, I remember that.
And they moved it over to this new building,
Yes.
which the heating is yet to be straightened out.
Did you work at the community center when it was in the old school?
No, I
Oh.
came in right after that.
Okay, when it went into the new building.
Yeah.
And what else did you do for Bridgeton?
Oh, well, I worked, my dear little boss, Mary Lane, I worked for her.
I believe she's still there, is that correct?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I'm gonna go up and see her tomorrow.
Good.
And, oh, yeah, she's wonderful. And whatever, we just work so well together. She just suggests something, well, I can do it, or I couldn't do it, you know. And she's the one that gets all the parties and everything together, so I'd help her with all that stuff, you know, and send out all the paperwork or ads and whatever.
We know the seniors have a lot of different trips, day outings. Did you take advantage of that?
Well, yeah, but I worked with that. That was part of my work.
Oh,
Help get those trips together. You know, like Barb Williams is doing that. You know Barb Williams?
I think I do.
So, in fact, I was with her last night,
Oh,
and because she belongs to our bunco club,
uh-huh.
and so I got here just in time to go to that, and so. But anyhow, what time is it?
Joe, do you know what time it is?
It's almost 4 o'clock.
Pardon?
Almost 4
4
o'clock.
o'clock.
Well, we are going to wrap this up because we know you have somewhere to go this evening. You are going to St. Charles.
Yeah, we're going to the Sages. That's
McDonald Retirement Club.
Well, we hope you have a very pleasant evening. It was very, very nice to meet you and talk to you. And is there anything else you'd like to say about Bridgeton? And how long have you been gone now from Bridgeton?
From Bridgeton, what's it, 10 years?
Yeah, well, we moved out of,
No. Is it, Joe?
yeah, we
I
moved
guess
out
that you,
of 10.
you came back to work for so long, it maybe.
Yeah, see, I never quit working. I lived out there and came in here.
Mm-hmm.
I did too.
Did you?
And he did too. You didn't tell what you
What
did.
were you doing?
I worked at the golf club.
Oh, really? Berry Hill?
Yeah.
I was sort of a jerk.
In their snack bar area, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband likes to play at Berry Hill, and he's on the men's league there, the Monday morning men's league. Did you play golf there?
I played at it.
And he's a good golfer. You don't pay attention to him. Oh, we used to go all the time, you know. I love it. And I belong to the ladies' league up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
I think I worked up there, what, about 25 years.
Oh, really? Did you get free golf then?
Yeah.
Well, that's
so I
a
didn't
nice
do that
thing.
because I was an employee.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of good things for people that live out here.
Yes.
You know, they really, I can't go through them all now, but there's, you know, and if you want something and you're a senior, they bend over backwards to help those seniors. And of course, all the seniors love Mary and Pam. Pam is there now, you know. So anyhow, but it's a great place to live and work.
Well, thank you for that wonderful endorsement.
Yeah.
And it was nice talking to you today, and hope you have a good evening, and I hope you come back and visit again.
Well, we'll be with a lot of Bridgeton people tonight.
Have a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks
Nice
a
to
lot.
meet you too.